Nekopara anime completely hated by the usual fucking puritans that don't even like anime and are just pretending because it's popular now. Also known as Anime News Network. Yeah, Anime News Network used to be a pretty decent website like over 10 fucking years ago, but recently I don't think they've done anything worth a shit. Really. I mean, they've done a lot of work when it comes to holding back anime. They've done a lot. I mean, God, remember when this was happening in video games? And the censors were all outside the industry, and you had the industry, the fans, and even the media fighting together against the censors? Now it's only us fans fighting against everybody else. The external censors, the internal censors, the media, the industry, they're all against us, and we have to fight tooth and nail. This was their strategy. The Puritans never went away. They just realized they couldn't win the fight from the outside, so they infiltrated and are trying to do it again from the inside. So we got to cut them off completely, put an end to this shit. So yeah, usual suspect, don't like Nekopara. Self-proclaimed anime website Anime News Network, well fucking played. Yeah, Sankaku Complex is by far the best anime website, by the way. By far. Has once again regarded shows that are completely innocent and cute as political and uncomfortable, as anime adaptation of the eroge Nekopara was lambasted for having a world full of catgirl slaves. Holy shit. Yeah, these people are fucking stupid. They literally take anything and they try to make it all about, some bad thing in real life. No. Let it go. This is escapism. It has nothing to do with real life. You fucking idiots. Stop. This is why everybody hates you. This is why you have no friends. You remember that South Park episode when Stan realized the entire world was shit and he wouldn't stop complaining about it to everyone else? And all of his friends were like, oh, yeah, let's go watch this movie. And he did nothing but complain the whole time. Like, oh, yeah, look at this. Let's listen to this new CD. And he did nothing but complain about it. That's these people. Even if they're right, even if it is shit. The people who just want to enjoy it don't want to listen to your bitching. And then everybody leaves, and then they're all angry and depressed, wondering why they're all alone. Oh my God, why does all my friends leave me? They weren't real friends anyway. What was their favorite saying? If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Well, I hate to break it to you, but your best isn't really any better than your worst. Like, you're just a shit person. And they never miss a chance to let you know how shit they are. While such unintelligible criticism is expected of the slanderous and politically malign cesspool, yup, that is Anime News Network to a T, the site's so-called reviewers labeled the precious series a number of things, from simply porn to weird to calling the catgirls literal slaves. A handful of incomprehensibly ignorant quotes. I wonder how many brain cells I'm going to lose going through this. Guys, get ready. Brace your brains. I expected lots of catgirl fan service, but I didn't expect to leave this episode filled with questions about dystopian eroticism or the relationship between pee fetishism and the power dynamics. That's all you. You're mentally ill. Get help. Nobody else has this problem. It's entirely you. You are the problem, not the entire rest of the fucking planet, okay? You need help. Let my viewing serve as a warning. Then, once you watch Nekopara, it is impossible to be unwatched. It was actually kind of okay, so I don't mind. It was pretty cute. I don't mind having it be impossible to unwatch.
Structurally, Nekopara demonstrates its roots largely through its episode's heavy focus on introducing lots of girls as well as unabashedly horny world building. Of course, that world building also plays into more general anime trends like emphasis on increasingly dependent women, love interests who might once have been childhood friends first started becoming little sisters, and at this point often take the form of the protagonist's literal slaves.
Again, you're mentally ill. Stop. What is it you guys always say? It's not for you. Go away. Nobody wants to hear you bitching about it. Just leave. Go away. Nobody likes you. Nobody wants you here. Nobody's keeping you here. Go away. Leave.
So it goes in Nekopara, which posits a world where cats are essentially just as intelligent as humans, but are still raised and owned by human masters. Nekopara's world is terrifying, and it is extremely proud of it. The disconnect between the intended aren't cats' funny charm of a sequence like the one where they're slave bells, markers that let them travel unchaperoned, are introduced in its actual mortifying substance, made for serious tonal whiplash all through this first episode.
Not to normal people, just you. Once again, it may be hard to tell since you morons live in an echo chamber, since you ban everyone who disagrees with you, but the vast majority of the world correctly views you as mentally ill. You are the problem. Something is wrong with you. You can find fault in everything. You see racism and sexism and homophobia everywhere, huh? Just like Saint Anita said, right? Still, porn is porn. And there is no porn in Nekopara. Well, in the games there are, but so far in the anime there is. If you want porn, that's where Ishizoku Reviewers is for. It's about as close to hentai as you can get without hentai.
There's nothing wrong with enjoying power dynamic fantasies within the play acting of fiction. More damning for Nekopara is the fact that if you set aside this specific kind of horny, there's just nothing interesting about this premiere at all.
Maybe because your perverted ass was only thinking about porn when you were watching it, you missed everything else. Just a theory, but that's what I seem to notice.
Dystopian horniness and pee jokes are one thing. Nekopara's truly damning flaw is that it's just plain boring.
Well, you could have just said that. You didn't need to mention all the... Now, when you do this, this is signaling to us that your real problem was the dystopian horniness and pee jokes. You could have just said, it was fucking boring, and left it at that. Then nobody would question your motives. You're a writer, aren't you? Writers are supposed to know this fucking shit.
Yeah, there's nothing fetishy at all about this series. Basically, Nekopara, a portmanteau of Neko Paradise, is trying to take the whole catgirl thing and simultaneously play two different ways, both for cute factor and sex appeal. Just like the game. In the former case, just about everything the girls do isn't fan service is carefully calculated for cute value. Yeah, you say that as if it's a bad thing. But this comes from people that demand that fiction not be fun, escapism not be appealing, and then they don't financially support it anyway. Though of course most of them are serving as waitresses at their master's patisserie.
And maybe that's the part of it that was aimed at girls. Now, as Mother's Basement got owned, is whining about Nekopara, and he was correctly put in his place. You realize Nekopara is made by a woman who probably actually has sex with her husband, unlike everyone complaining about this, or their wives, if they're men. Or soy boys, rather. I mean, do soy boys count as men? I don't really count them as men anymore.
The premise also raises all kinds of questions that the series probably is not prepared to ever answer. Since these cats age rapidly by human standards, does that mean they will only have a lifespan of a normal cat? Where are the male cats? Or do these catgirls just reproduce with human males? Clearly they have inferior rights to humans, but how do they feel about them?
You know, motherfucker, you could tell how they feel about literally everything. They're not hiding. They're very fucking expressive. You have to be autistic to like over 9,000 levels of autism to not be able to tell.
This kind of fare is not at all intended to be deep, so I will be shocked if the series ever bothers trying to address any of the...
Yeah, now they're trying to pull the pretentious holier-than-thou card. Like, oh, well, I only watch intellectual anime, like Evangelion, and nothing else. Everything else is beneath me and my giant brain. Whatever. All you're doing is whining while the rest of us are trying to enjoy shit. And again, you wonder why you have no friends.
Overall, this is a series which feels like it might have worked better as 8 to 10 minute shorts.
Says someone who's obviously not a fan, yeah.
It might have also worked better if the production staff had more firmly committed to one or the other of cute appeal and sex appeal.
I think it's fine the way it is. So does literally 100% of its target audience. You are clearly not the target audience. It's not for you. Go away. Why the fuck does everything have to be for you? Go watch Thundercats Roar or something. That's made for you. Go over there. Leave anime alone.
I have a particular aversion to any anime that makes me feel like I'm supposed to treat its characters less like individuals in a story and more like subjects of a voyeuristic hidden camera documentary.
You're not supposed to treat them that way. The fact that this is the impression you get, again, you are the problem. You're just projecting your own sick fetishes onto everybody else.
These are girls with names like Chocolat, Vanilla, and Cinnamon, and they exist in a nightmare world where they are treated for all intents and purposes like literal cats.
I mean, that was kind of the fucking point. Yep.
All but the kind that walk around on two legs, wear sexy underwear under their maid costumes, and cook and clean for the customers who frequent the Café La Soleil.
Yeah, it definitely, I mean, watch that episode. Look at how miserable they all are. Yeah, they're totally living in a fucking nightmare. Now, you guys have been playing too much rape hentai, apparently.
Forget plot or funny jokes or interesting dialogue or any of the things anime would usually set out to deliver in the first episode. The only thing Nekopara is concerned with is showing off as many cat girls as possible, who all indulge in off-putting cat behaviors for the audience's viewing pleasure.
If it was for the audience's viewing pleasure, it would not be off-putting, okay? Again, you're clearly not the audience. You need to shut the fuck up and go away. Nobody will miss you. Just leave. Leave anime completely. Nobody wants you here.
Cat girls playing with cat toys? Check. Cat girls needing the breasts of other cat girls?
Yeah, that's the kind of awesome shit.
That is unfortunately a check.
Yeah, spoken like either a woman or a gay guy.
I know. A pair of cat girls hissing and yelling at each other from the front yard while the camera scoots right in close to their nether regions. You betcha.
They're doing a good job selling the show to its actual audience, though.
Have you recently thought about animals' ability to regurgitate the flow or to regulate the flow of their urine for the purposes of marking territory and whatnot? No? Well, Nekopara is determined to rectify that error by taking multiple opportunities to reference the cat girl's desire to let just a little bit of pee out and soak her undies while the bathroom is full.
Yeah, but you know why people do pee jokes and poop jokes or toilet humor in general? Because it's funny! Maybe not to you, who doesn't understand what humor is. Because unfortunately, there is a large chunk of the population that does not comprehend humor. And they're hopeless. You can't reason with them.
I'm going to path, however. It's not smutty enough to work as actual porn.
It never was meant to be. Well, the game was, but...
It isn't funny or charming enough to work as a sitcom. And it's too weird and fetishistic to serve as a low-investment slice of life story.
If that's you saying you're actually going to shut the fuck up and leave, then this is the first intelligent thing you've said in this whole thing. Yeah.
If I have to go for an anthropomorphic animal comedy this winter, I guess Saturn Academy is a better choice.
That one is pretty good, too.
That show is all kinds of dumb, but it at least makes an effort to appeal to an audience outside of the very specific niche that Nekopara is catering to.
And they say that as if it's a good thing. Now, that's fucking stupid, right? You realize that Western entertainment is dying because they are flipping their specific niche, the bird, and trying to appeal to this wider audience or audience outside of the niche that isn't showing up. Meanwhile, anime, part of the reason it's still as big and popular and financially stable as it is because they're actually appealing to their real fans. Maybe you're the one that doesn't belong. Just go away. Nobody wants you here.
But Nekopara's particular blend of catgirls and CGDCT antics resulted in a half hour of weirdly uncomfortable television that seemed set on asking the question, what if cats were only female and kind of sexy and all called you master? Its front of innocence feels very much like a facade, and the disconnect between the girls' appearances and actions along with the episode's insistence that they're cats just doesn't quite work.
So we have another example of that mental illness that makes it impossible for these NPCs to distinguish between fiction and reality. They only have one code path. It's the same whether it's seeing fiction or reality. They react the same regardless. They're incapable of suspension of disbelief. They're incapable of accepting the laws of this fictional universe. As much as they like to pretend to be all highbrow and smarter than everyone else, these are the stupidest people the human race has ever produced.
Two cats getting annoyed because one wants to touch the other when the other doesn't want it is one thing, but anthropomorphizing them to this degree, it just comes off as an excuse to have girls touching each other with minimal consent.
Of course they had to bring consent into this, huh? Once again, this is why you don't have friends. You got people just having fun, and you have to walk in and fucking ruin it. This is why nobody likes you. This is why nobody wants you around.
But the using humanoid cats as pet servant thing is uncomfortable, and the plot for this episode anyway is negligible.
I had very bountiful plot, thank you very much.
But I didn't think I'd be saying this, but right now Saturn Academy is looking like a better Animal Girl bet this season.
That one is good too. But just don't listen to these NPCs. If anything, do what I do. Go to Anime News Network with ad blockers on, of course, and go to their season reviews, and any show that these snowflakes get triggered by, there's a 99% chance it's worth watching. And Nekopara is one of them. The right people are getting triggered by it, so you know it's going to be good. And you can see it's in good company. Other anime, besides More Crusaders of the easily offended deemed problematic, was Dumbbell Nankila Motoru, a great one. Rising of the Shield Hero, another great one. And literally anything with sex appeal, which is great by default. In case some of you aren't aware yet, we actually have launched the Blade Devil merch shop. Link in the description box. So if you've ever wanted to support the channel but actually wanted something physical in return, we got the shop for you now. Lots of good stuff up in here. So if you would like any of those, or just in general want to support the channel, want to support original content, original products, like Diversity in Comics always used to say, then this is probably the best way to do it. So check it out. We're going to be adding new items on a monthly basis, at least in the near future. So check back often, and independent projects like the ones we're working on are only possible thanks to you guys. So appreciate all of your support.